Okay.
We're back.
Yeah, I did see it actually.
Long time ago. Yeah, last week, right? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It looks like kind of different a little bit in the back, kind of.
Oh, yeah, because it's not. It's probably because it's smushed a little. And my
Yeah.
hair needs. I need a haircut.
Yeah. All right. This is episode 17.
Woohoo! Hello, welcome back to the Sunday Struggle podcast.
Hello.
Another week, another struggle.
True. That's why we called it that.
There we go. Yeah,
So.
we're struggling major. I think today's episode is little mini life update, little bit of advice, something along those lines.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I forgot
Okay.
to say this. This
Okay.
is for my editing note.
Right. You telling yourself this?
Talk into the mic.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
There we go.
There we go.
He said for my editing
Yeah,
note.
because like I was listening to it and I was like, why is Kennedy so quiet? And then I watched like the video and you're like this the whole time.
I'm always like
And
this.
I was like, okay, that's why.
That's why.
Yeah, because these are directional or whatever.
Oh,
so
okay.
like you have to talk into
Into
this.
it.
Yeah, they're not
Fair.
like omnidirectional where you can like do all that. I wish they were, but these are cheap. So
It'll be all right. It gets the job done.
yeah, I mean these are good enough. But yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's what we have going on.
Yeah, we were just going to talk about motivation today because it's always something I think everybody is kind of struggling with, like
Oh, yeah.
discipline, motivation.
Oh, yeah.
So unless you're like a Marine or whatever, but you know,
You
well,
got, you're
yeah.
just good like that.
yeah.
You want
but
to go
yeah.
first?
Sure. Yeah.
Mine's
So
fine.
actually, I did take a mental health step and I deleted all my social media. Yeah.
Wow.
So I haven't been posting on our Instagram because like
That's fine.
yeah, and
It
plus it's not been doing well on Instagram. I don't know what it is. Instagram.
I don't
is
know. I don't think TikTok's doing well either.
just- YouTube is been doing pretty good.
Like the shorts?
Yeah.
That's
I've been
good.
getting like 400 views per,
That's good.
and like we gained like 3 subscribers.
That'll do.
So I mean, shit, that's
Maybe
something.
well, I feel like YouTube, because they come up when you're just basically scrolling.
Yeah.
So if people are looking, like, I think it's also good if you were to, when we do the F1 episodes, they might come up,
Yeah,
right?
true.
The algorithm might come up when, like, for instance, if it's this race, like the Japanese Grand Prix is coming up,
Yeah,
our past ones might come up and a short might come up
that's
or
true.
a video if you've watched,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. So maybe that's
Yeah, I
also
think
why.
people are also like
'Cause you did
looking
say-
up F1 too.
Yeah.
So.
You did say our F1s probably are is
Is-
the most, yeah, because people love it's niche. I've
Yeah.
met someone I think the other day that was like, oh my god, like I'm into F1 too. I'm like, and it was a girl, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, normally it's kind of guys, I feel like, with racing and stuff
Mhm.
like that. I mean, most sports, I feel like it's more male dominated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, so it's been doing really well. Like,
That's
I mean, we've been getting like people liking and comments. Like someone was like, Daniel Ricciardo is more pretentious than he seems, and blah, or like he's, yeah. And I was like, okay, that's your opinion. I didn't respond. I was just like, okay. I mean, that's how you
We should do
how you
that.
feel.
Look at all of our comments and have a response for this.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could do that. Like, ooh, make it the 20th special, where we look at our comments.
Yeah.
So then we actually have a decent bit of comments, and we
Yeah.
can like, yeah, because I've been posting those shorts. I'm telling you, I've been I posted like 10 of them, maybe
Wow.
more than that already.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I was texting you every time I posted one, but I was just like, I don't feel like bothering her. I don't want to be like, I don't
I
want to
think I
text
also
you like
get a
every day.
notification.
Oh, okay.
I think I'll get a notification when it will say like the Sunday Struggle, like, oh, another video has been
Okay.
posted, or if someone likes something, I think it does come up.
Okay.
I
that's
don't
good.
remember though off the top of my
Okay.
head.
Yeah, I put in the drive like up beside it. So all the ones I uploaded, I put up beside them, just so then we know. Like, so then if you want to post them on like TikTok. So, but yeah, okay. Enough about our behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I deleted all my social media, which means like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat, because I just like,
Okay.
you sit down to go to the bathroom. What do? You go on social media.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning. What do? Check your notifications. Like, go on social media. Like,
yeah.
and it's like, I would get upset. You know what I'm saying? You go on like Instagram and you see some dumb shit, or you see someone doing something stupid that you know, and you're just like what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then it like makes like it literally changes your mood as soon as you wake up. So it's like, or if you're already waking up like upset or like something happens, like that will just make it worse.
Mm.
So it's like I woke up one morning and like it was yeah, it was like Instagram, and someone did something, and I was just like, what the fuck, bro? Like,
Delete.
I was just upset. Yeah, I was upset for like a few hours, and then I listened to a podcast, and the guy was like, yeah, like I deleted all my social media, and I was like, you know what? I'm
Let's
just
try
gonna
it.
do it, and I've not looked back. I do not want to download it again.
Works for you.
I just, yeah. I mean, like if I'm gonna post, I'm gonna post it on a computer. I'm not using my phone. Like,
That
But
makes
yeah.
sense.
so that honestly has like kind of helped my motivation. I'm not gonna say it's like solved
Mhm.
it or like made me more disciplined or anything, but like it's made it like more of a hurdle to like get like stimulation in my brain, you know,
Mhm.
because like TikTok and Instagram and all that, it's all so much stuff, like quick, all these colors, all these people,
Mhm.
like it's like so much for your brain to handle. So like you're constantly doing that throughout the day, and it's like I just noticed it. I was more tired. My eyes were more tired. My brain was more tired. So it's like when I stopped like doing that all the time, and I also turned the colors off on my phone.
Yeah, you're still in black and white.
So I still do that once in a while. Like
Mhm.
if I'm noticing I'm like on YouTube Shorts, which is literally just TikTok,
Mhm.
I'll like turn off the colors and like click off. I'm like, I can't. It's too much. 'Cause I-
Overstimulated.
Yeah, because I don't know. I just know it's not good, and I
Mhm.
know like there's a lot of studies coming out that are like, hey, like if you use TikTok, you're literally killing your brain, and like your attention span is going away, and like you know you're developing all these ADHD and like depression and
Oh, I have
anxiety.
ADHD. I have undiagnosed ADHD. And
Okay,
and it's sometimes bad.
yeah.
That's
So-
to do. Yeah, that's tied into my motivation.
Yeah.
Because I think I came home one day. And I don't know what was happening, but I just was mentally not available, not stable. I don't know what happened, and I was just like, okay. And I realized I was like, oh, I need to wash my work uniform, right? Put it in the wash for 30 minutes, dry it for an hour. It's good, right?
yeah.
I'm like, I have to feed these cats, right? I'm like, it's going to take like maybe 5 minutes, right? And this is post
Yeah.
me talking, okay? In depth me, in the moment me, not having it, right? And then I was like, oh, I have to need to make my lunch because I don't have anything to eat. I need to make my lunch, right? And I don't know what happened, right? But when I tell you mental breakdown, immediately. When I was like, and then in the middle of me, like, I have to, Nick was like, I don't know how to help her because I don't know what's wrong. Because when I do it, it sounds like I'm laughing. And sometimes I am. Right. And this time it sounded like I was laughing and I was not. He was like, I don't know if you're laughing or crying. I said, I'm crying 100%. He was like, okay. And I'm like, I don't have to. I was like, I have to do your lunch. And I just don't. It was bad. Right. And then I realized I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? He was like, I'll just help you. I'll help you. Okay. So I finally got up. Right. I'm like, let me just try. Okay, let me do some of these things, right? Let me just attempt, right? And I go to I'm like looking for my second pair because I have 2 pairs of scrubs, and I'm looking for both of them. And I'm like, maybe one's already in the dryer, right? Score. One's already clean in the dryer.
Nice.
And I'm already like mentally I'm like, okay, next, like, I'll feed the cats for you. I'm like, bet. I'm doing great. And then he starts to put stuff out for, like, I make sandwiches. That's where it goes back downhill. Because I'm like, okay. And I have like a system, a routine where it's like, when I make the sandwiches, I toast my bread and then I put mayonnaise and Nando sauce on his bread, right? Not toasted.
Nando sauce?
Yeah, Nick's getting
Like UK Nando?
Nick gets Nando's on his sandwich. And I put Nando's on his, and then I will simultaneously, the left side is where my sandwich pieces go, and the right side's where his sandwich pieces go, and then I will assemble them,
Okay.
right, simultaneously, right? Nick takes out an onion and puts it on my cutting board, on my side of the cutting board. I said, Nick. He's like, yeah. I said, what is that? He's an onion. I said, why is it on? I said, it's on my side of the cutting board. He was like, he moves it from the top to the bottom. And I'm like, it's still on my side. He was like, can I have my bread toasted? And I looked at him, I'm like, why are you asking me to do so much? Like, I'm like, you're fucking up my routine. After that point, I was like, get the fuck out of my kitchen. Get the fuck out. He was like, I'm just trying to help you. I said, yeah, and you're adding more. You're ruining my routine. My space and routine, it's the same. You're ruining it. And then I realized later that day, I finished doing all my tasks. And I'm like, that wasn't hard. That took me like 20 minutes. What are you doing? Right? And I was like mentally unstable. I realized that I'm more inclined to do the stuff I don't like to do. If I have an audiobook.
Okay.
So now, like, when I know I need to do like the kitchen or something,
Yeah.
right? I realize that I also read I go through books faster with an audiobook. Like I've gotten through, I think, in a couple days, I've gotten through so far 2, and it's taken me it takes me a day and a half to listen to an audiobook.
I don't know how y'all be listening to audiobooks that much.
Like it takes me a day and a half, and and it consumes my time. The reason also is because I'm trying to make the 100 books a month, right? And I read a lot slower.
You're more motivated.
Yeah, I'm more motivated, but also because it's like, okay, well, when I get home and I'm doing something, right? I need to clean. I need to clean something. I like cleaned for like an hour. I would listen to the audiobook the whole time, and I was just, instead of music, I'm just doing
what audiobooks?
Let me see. The last 3 I read, the current one I'm on is called Mile High. It's a hockey romance, which is not my favorite. It's an African American hockey romance, which is not the reason why it's not my favorite. Well, it kind of is the reason why it's not my favorite. It just doesn't hit. It doesn't hit like the other hockey romance, and I don't know if it's because like
they're trying to make it.
Well,
like
I don't know, because I
something
feel like reading it. I realized this on my last book that I read, or the 2 books before that. I read Out on a Limb, which was a pregnancy one, like
I feel like I've heard that. Yeah.
pregnancy trope one with the girl who's got like an underdeveloped hand and a guy who's an amputee. I just didn't like. It was like, I don't know if it's just how they were reading it, that it would just felt better to read it instead of listen, because sometimes it's cringe and you're like,
yeah, sometimes how they talk,
like in this book, that's what it is. It's just very cringy.
Yeah.
The last one I read was like really short, but it's like 6-book series, really short, and they don't have the rest of them on Audible, and I was very upset because I was like, it was good.
Yeah.
It was.
I use Spotify.
Oh, okay.
They actually have a lot of stuff for free. They have the whole Court of Thorns and Roses for free.
Okay, so I bought.
Okay, see, I wanted to ask you about this.
I have read, right? Don't think fantasy is my like thing. I don't think I'm into it. I don't think I can.
Okay.
Because English is not my best subject. So like you add things I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah, they like to say a lot of shit.
Yeah, and I've never read it. So Nick and I had gone to the bookstore. I'd gone to Barnes & Noble. I let him pick out all my books. He had picked out How to Love Your Elf, an elf book. Because he was like, well, that's what I would read. He was like, I think if I was to read a book, I would read about elves. And I was like, okay. We were talking about it the day before, and we ended up going to Barnes & Noble. He was like, and he was skimming the shelf. He was like, look. And I was like, okay, I'll read it for you. He bought it for me. I read it. First book I read. Wasn't my fave. Didn't love it. Okay. Then he gave me like these other 2. One was called Delicious, and that was okay. Pretty good. Decent book. And the other one was, I don't remember the name off the top of my head. They were not bad books. I also then bought, I was like, but none of the books that I saw at Barnes & Noble were also on my TBR. Because that's the problem. Is I see a book, like I've been reading.
TBR?
Yeah, my to be read.
Oh, to be read. Okay.
Yeah, so my TBR, like I just keep adding books because I'm not reading the books on my TBR. I'm just reading. Yeah. So I'm trying to read books that are on my TBR. So that's what my Audible, right? Because this is my TBR right here. Oh my God. If you can't see it. But this is my TBR.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, right? And I've read, I don't know, maybe I think I'm on maybe 17, 18, 19, 20, in that range, right? So I'm like, I keep adding books because the books I have at home I don't want to read. So I bought the ACOTAR series because an old coworker of mine said, it's great, you're going to love it. I spent $95 for the whole set because I was like, I don't want to buy one and then buy the others and it be more expensive. I'll just buy the whole set. And if it sucks.
You know what you could have done?
What?
Bought the first book. If you liked it, bought the series, sold the first book.
I could have done that.
It probably would have been better. But okay, continue.
So I was like, oh, whatever. So I haven't read that book. And I have it, like, I took it to work yesterday to read it. Nah. I've been listening to something else. I listened because I was like, remember we talked about last time, if you could read a different book and audio listen to a different book and still read 2 books at the same time. Kennedy cannot do that. I can't. It's one or the other.
People do that?
Yeah, so like my dad reads 2 books, right? My dad can read 2 books at a time. One for pleasure, one for like mental health stimulation.
Like wait. Not at the same time. You mean at the same time, like reading separately?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was so confused. I was like, so you're listening to one and you're reading one at the same time?
No, like we're like you to meet I want to read 100 books. I was like, okay.
You do one at a time.
Yeah, I've realized that I can't.
Really?
I've read so far. Like I was in the middle of reading the book Delicious, and I I think got Out on a Limb, right?
Okay.
Well, I ended up halfway through, partly through Delicious, switched to Out on a Limb because I'm like, oh, I'm going out driving. Let me just look for a book, or I need to stand up. I need to clean. Let me find a book because I think it's a waste to do a book you already have, right? That to me, that's waste. Sometimes I used to do that where I would audible a book. Now I would only audible a book if I think it would sound sexier or better if it was like
narrated.
I have Little Lies or Little Life, right? That book I will I will have to audio. I have that on Audible because I know like already to a page in, I'm like, I can't keep up. It's got to be an Audible. I have to listen to this book, but I will listen and read it. So I'm trying to do in between. So my motivation has gone not necessarily up, but I try to like when that happens, I'm like, okay, I'll listen to a thing. And it's also gone in where Nick and we've realized that having ADHD sucks for some. Like everyone says like I have ADHD, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And my mom's always been like, yeah, no, Kennedy, you're on the spectrum, baby. My mom's a special ed teacher, so she works with kids who are all over the spectrum, and we know I'm on the spectrum, right? So I've been seeing like things that women with ADHD do, right? And I would send them to Nick, and he was like, yeah, you're struggling. And one of those things was like when we clean, I saw like a post that was like normal people cleaning is like one, like it's a little step by step, and it's very simple, easy, right? For people with ADHD, it's one step and then a giant step and then a giant step. So it feels like to do any task is very hard. And that's why I get overstimulated, why I don't want to ever, like cleaning is like one of my hardest things to ever do. Because if I'm not motivated to clean, the ADHD says you're not doing it if you don't do it right. Like for me specifically, like in my house, I can clean one section. It's going to take me over 2 hours because I have to do one thing before I have to do the next thing, and they kind of intertwine. So like in my house, I needed to clean up like my spare room, right, which had a whole bunch of boxes, right? And I was like, okay, I had a box of like full of desk stuff. And I was like, okay. So I took it all out, went through it, and I was like, okay, well, I have a desk. Now I have to leave that room to go clean the desk, see what I do need from that desk, right? Clean that out, right? Then I'm like, okay, well, I have all these books and movies and stuff, right? I don't want that on my desk anymore. I'm going to move it to the bookshelf. Okay, so now I moved a different room to do a different task, move it to the bookshelf. Now I'm sitting at the bookshelf trying to rearrange all these books and like books and CDs that Nick has and like all this stuff. And I didn't like it the first time, so I take it out, redo it, right? Don't like it the second time, I take it out, redo it. Until finally I'm like, you know what? Like I had like the CDs at the top and then some of the books, right? And then I was like, nope, that looks stupid. So I took it all out. I was like, just books. And then I was like, CDs. And I'm like, wait, and then books. I'm like, why is there a difference? Took it out. Then I was like, CDs. And I was like, you know what? I have CDs and movies. So I was like, books, CDs, and movies. That looks okay. And then I was like, I just spent an hour doing that. And I didn't. Bookshelf, and I only got through. And my task was to clean this spare room. I only got through a box. So like with ADHD, like you do one thing, it's going to lead you. Like I just know that I have to have 100% motivation to clean. Because if I don't have like my kitchen, when I clean the kitchen, it's like I clean the whole kitchen. Like Nick is like, his ADHD is different than mine, and it shows when we need to clean because he's like a guy who will like go through the room, will pick up all the trash, and then he'll do section by section. So he'll do this, and then he'll pick up, like, right, your books need to be on a bookshelf, right? That's one section he's gonna do, right? He's gonna put it all on the bookshelf.
Damn, she just roasted me. That's crazy.
Well, no, but that's just like the example, right? Because it's the only thing I can see here that needs to be would need to be organized. Right? And he was like, okay, but say the floor is also dirty around it. Cool. He'll come do that. And then what he'll do is he'll vacuum, right? He'll vacuum what he can see. And then he'll go back at the end and vacuum, lift up things and vacuum. That's how I do it. Yeah. It's odd for him, but it works for him. He's like one task at a time. I'm like, I do one, like he would do like one task for every room. So if you're going to go pick up trash, he would pick up trash in every room and then the next task. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm picking up trash and I pick a room. Like if I'm like, I'm going to clean this room is my focus. So like my kitchen, I'm like, I'm going to wipe my counters. I'm going to put the dishes up. I'm going to wash the dishes. I'm going to clean off my cabinets. I'm going to sweep. I'm going to mop. I'm going to organize like everything right in the kitchen before I move on to my next task. He's like, like he will do something separate than what I do. And so for us at our house, it's very hard because if we lack, like once we get up to do it, you're like, okay, I'm good and going. It's easy, right? It's just that step to actually get up yourself, and do it. Yeah. Which is always hard.
Yeah, I think it's like that's where like discipline comes in,
Yeah.
and like especially with like mental health stuff, it's kind of difficult because it's like, yeah, like for me, like I don't think I have ADHD or anything like that. Like, I mean, I think everybody has tendencies of certain things, you know, but I think it's more like, yeah, for me, I just have lazy tendencies.
I have
like,
that too.
Yeah, it's like, like, because when I was like 18, I was like fucking, like literally the definition of a fucking couch potato, like fucking deadbeat person. Like, I literally would just sit, like, I would go to work, fucking, not even like, I'll go to work like 6 hours maybe. This is when I worked at like T-Mobile. I was like almost 300 pounds, right? I would just go to work like maybe 11, 12. Like, we didn't have to get up early. Get up, fucking go there, literally sit on my phone all day, watch anime, go get Taco Bell, get like a lot of Taco Bell. Oh my God. And then come back, keep watch anime, go home, eat even more shit food, watch anime, go to bed, repeat. And I did that for like a year.
Wow.
And my mom was even like, hey, you're
What
not doing shit. And yeah, so it's like for me, I guess that is a good motivator for me, is because like when I look back at myself then, I was like, what the fuck?
Are
like,
you
really? Like, that's
Yeah.
it's like looking at me then and then comparing it to me now. I'm like, wow. Like,
I
it's
think
like,
mine's backwards.
really?
Yeah, I think I was more, I wouldn't say more motivated, but I would say I was more.
You were crazy.
Yeah, I would say, and kind of, I look back and I'm like, I wish I was still kind of her, but I also don't regret who I am now, right? Because if for anyone who doesn't know, I worked 2 jobs, 7 days a week, 90 hours a week, also went to school full time. To put that in there. Okay. I
Not
don't
to flex.
Right,
No.
not to say anything crazy, but I miss the mental grind where you're like, I'm booked, I'm busy, right? But one of those things my biggest regret when doing that, looking back on it now, is I never spent any time on my college campus more than I had to. Like, and I look at my sister.
You missed the experience.
Yeah, and I look at my sister who goes that, like, she called me, she was like, I'm like, she's like, what do you do? She's like, I'm drunk in a parking lot, dude. I'm having a great time. Like, she was like a function at her school,
Yeah.
right? She's like, I'm chilling like a villain. Like, I'm living my best life,
Yeah.
right? And she's still academically inclined. Like, she's still doing all her schoolwork, but she still makes
Just
time.
having fun.
Right. She still makes time to have that
Yeah.
experience, goes to, she goes to football games. She goes to any, any type of talks. Like,
Extracurricular activities.
she does. And biggest regret that the only time I did that was my last year when we had family day, right? The only time. First time seeing a football game. First time.
Wow.
Yeah. First time seeing a football game. First time doing
4 years?
For 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't do anything. Like, nothing. And so I don't, like, when I look at it now, I'm like, I would never go back to the lack of sleep.
No.
Never.
Please don't.
Never.
You were coming off 10 minutes of sleep. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I would never go back to that, but that mental, like, here I'm check. Like, I would go back to have that mentality, but I don't regret it now because I was like, you know what, 2024 is a travel year. I can't regret it. I'm not, I think same thing goes for Nick. Like, he was always like, he's never gone on vacation. He always works. He kind of just does his own thing. And so I think the most we've ever been out has been together. And so I'm like, you know what? You only live once.
It's
okay.
true.
And
I mean, a $10,000 trip is a little excessive.
Yeah.
But hey, it's okay.
What can we say?
Yeah,
But I'm like, you only have experiences like this once. And I'm like, I've never been out the country. And I feel like those are experiences you should have. Like, you should travel.
True.
You should do things. And I'm like, every time I think about it, I'm like, that's a lot of money for those tickets. But I'm like, that's a once in a lifetime
It's an experience. Yeah. Like, it's something you're probably never going to forget.
Right. And if I was to never do it again, cool. I got
Bucket
to do
list,
it. Right.
boom.
I got to do it. You know what I'm
A
saying?
little expensive. You could have done it cheaper. But that's, hey, you know what?
Well, not really. Because you could do it doing it in America is even more expensive.
You could go to like a fucking
well, I could have did the trip, yeah.
cheap country. Because they have some cheap, like really cheap countries
that
with
are still
cheap
very beautiful.
tickets.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could have.
I mean, Barcelona's sick.
Well, I think the
so-
only difference is it just because of the race. Like, I feel like, and I also keep in mind it's because of the time of year. Like, it wouldn't have been as expensive if it wasn't the Olympics
Yeah.
in France in
Yeah.
July. So
You kinda-
everyone's
yeah,
so
Kind of
everyone's
did that to yourself.
yeah, and I didn't know. And my parents were like, I was like, why are these so expensive? Because I remember looking up like when I last
Hostels
year.
and stuff.
Yeah, well, last year we were supposed to go. I was supposed to buy tickets, right? And I remember I told you I was at doggy daycare
Yeah.
on my break, tickets in the
Yes.
basket, ready to go, right? Those tickets for Italy, $800 a piece. So it's $1,600 in total.
That's not bad.
Yeah. And I was like, the whole trip in total for Nick and I was like thinking about it. I talked to Zoe, and she was like, it's like $5,000. And I was like, that's doable, right?
Now
but there
you
was
doubled it.
but there was only the problem was there was when I had him in my car, I was looking for a coupon code. Wrong. I should just bought them, right? Because it only ended up being one ticket left and not two, and so we didn't get to go. Right. So I was like, and yeah, I definitely should have looked to see what was going on in the world prior to picking that.
Yeah.
But whatever.
That's what I mean. You know what? You know.
Next year, that'll just be the travel
What
for
is
the
it?
year.
What
and
is
a half.
it? Foresight. Something is foresight.
What?
What is that?
I
That
don't know.
saying? I don't know.
I don't
Whatever. But no, I think it's. You'll have fun.
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
know,
will.
New experience, new place, like, whatever. Like, I mean, I clown on it, but I still want to travel. I mean, I'm gonna do it way more cheap, hopefully.
Oh yeah,
but
next time. Yeah, next trip. I'm like
yeah.
in advance.
But I think I think the thing with motivation and discipline is like you're not always going to have consistent motivation.
Mhm.
And plus different people get motivated for different things. Money,
Big motivation.
drugs, sex, I don't know,
Yeah.
But everybody has their motivation,
Mhm.
So it's like more just like finding a balance. I think
Mm.
it's like because I was kind of the same way with you when I moved out, where I was just fucking grinding.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't doing 90 hours,
Yeah.
whatever, but I was doing like 60 hours plus every hour I was home working on music
Yeah.
and doing all this shit. Like, so like I was, let's say in terms of resting, I'd probably say, yeah, I did probably about the same 80, 90 hours of just constant like doing something.
Yeah.
So it's like, then I like lost my job,
Mhm.
and then I like just reverted back to 18-year-old me, just sitting there playing fucking video games all day and just like not giving a shit. And then like slowly working myself up to where I am now,
Mhm.
where it's kind of like just trying to like learn about different things and like do different things and like understanding that like life is not just about one section. Like
Yeah.
it's like, it's kind of like for me, I'm obsessive, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's
Me
like
too.
when yeah. So it's
mine's
like
very short tempered. Like it's like
mine is like kind of weird. It's like a slider. Like sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's like a day or an hour.
yeah, mine's like that too.
So it's like so it's like for me it's like okay, money was a huge obsession for me for a little bit. And so it's like, you know what I'm saying? So like I was like
Yeah.
super like annoying about it and whatever. But then like I slowly like moved back and I was like, okay, money is, although it's important, it's a small portion of my life.
Yeah.
It's like I still have my health, my mental health, my like business, like everything that I want to do. So it's like I don't have to pick one to just focus on, but it's like, one doesn't have to fully take up my headspace all day and that's all I can think about. It's more like taking everything around you
Mhm.
and just like taking bits and pieces from it. You know what I'm saying? So like money, it's like, okay, budgeting and like, buying cheap and like trying to, keep your money good. Is like, I don't know, business, like still work on projects and stuff, but it doesn't have to like, you don't have to kill yourself and hate it.
Mhm.
You still want to enjoy it.
Mhm.
So it's like almost like, yeah, it's like what I've found is just balance. Like
That's hard.
just strive for balance. It's the toughest thing to do.
It
but
is.
I think
I'm
it's
still
yeah.
striving for balance because that's where I'm at now. Where I'm like, it's out of balance. Money out
Yeah.
of balance. I need to get back into it. My money's out of balance,
Yeah, 'cause
baby.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what the crazy part is like, it's not even like because of the trip. Well, it is because of the trip. Okay,
Yeah.
it is. Well, I would say it is because of the trip, but it's also not. Like, I am disciplined enough with money. I get
Yeah.
that from my dad, because he taught me money. I am very frugal, okay, to an extent. Where I'm like, but I also
Yeah.
save. Like my dad taught me. Like right now, where I'm at, people could look at my account and be like, "Pfft, she's not struggling, right?" But you always like, there's there's a number in your account that you like to see your account at, and you're like, if it's not there, it's like, what's happening, right? And mine's not at that level where I'm like comfortable, where I'm like not worried about it, right? Mine's like significantly lower than what I'm used to. And I'm like, every time I'm like, even when it comes to my bills and budgeting, I'm like, I had this budgeted. I'm like, why is it not adding up? Right? Because things are getting not necessarily paid late, but they're not on time. And I'm like, why are we, where in my budget is it not working out? Like, I don't understand.
The math is not
right.
mathing.
It's not mathing. Like, I did the math and I'm like, I literally was just talking. I was like, I need to go redo everything. I got to redo it all. I need to relook at things. We need to have a conversation. So I'm like, it's not. And it starts to stress me out. Like, even though, like, I'm like, you still have money. You're
chilling.
You're not struggling. But in my head, I'm like, nah.
I don't have $150,000 saved.
You know,
right
like,
now.
you're like, what's happening here? Right. And then you also, that goes back on to like, okay, well, you want to go back to school. When do you want to go back to school? When's the best time to go back to school? You know, plus all your home life stuff. It's like, you've got to like, everything is just currently is like, there's so much, and then you're like, where do you start?
Yeah.
Where do you even start to find a balance of where, like, cool, your job doesn't make a lot of money. I mean, you make a decent amount of money, but you don't make what you could in a different career, but you're like, but that career is like, can you get in that career? Right? So I was talking to patients, and they were like, yeah, a couple of my patients. So she's like, I'm going to Spain. I'm like, great, I'm going to Spain. She's like, great. It's going to have fun. She's like, my daughter, after college, had a degree, went to Spain with nothing. Didn't have, her and her fiance went to Spain, and she's never come back. She's been in Spain for years. And I'm like, wow. She's like, yep. She's like, she's now in finance. She did that in Spain. She didn't come over there with everything she needed. She said she went there blind, had nothing. And I was like, told Nick, and I was like, she's like, while you're there, just look to see what their medical look like. Look to see. And I'm like, for us, my obsessive, that's where my obsessive came in for a second. Cause I'm like, I don't want to live here. I got to move. I got to go. Something's going to happen. I gotta leave. And I'm like, Kennedy, wait until
the opportunity presents itself,
or just wait until you use your PTO.
Oh yeah, true.
You know? So I'm like, let's not make, that's the ADHD part. My obsessive.
Not be rash.
Where I'm like, well, when I have those obsessions, I'm very impulsive. Where I'm like that trip, impulsive. I'm like, nah, let's go. I could do it. Although I'm also like a planning person, so like I was like logging how much each ticket at each place was, right? So I could pick where do I want to go.
Yeah, I do that shit too.
Right? Same thing for our flights. For days. Like I was doing different days.
Okay, not for days.
Well,
for days to go.
Yeah,
okay,
so like,
okay.
Do I want to fly Monday, come back Wednesday? Do I want to fly Monday, come back Tuesday? Do I want to fly Thursday, come back, you know? For flights, right? Different airlines, right? Also doing the same thing for hostels. I'm looking at, okay, what has the most food area? What's expensive, the food? What's considered expensive? And the things in Spain, the most expensive about the trip was just the fact that if I didn't have to pay for the tickets, it would have been fine because it's like that's a couple grand that I don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Once you get there, it's really just getting there, right? Because the food, like cheap, like expensive.
Yeah, Europe's not that expensive.
It's not.
Food.
Like Spain, I think I saw like $2, like the $3 sign for them, I think was like 22, in that 22 range.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's.
Here it's like fucking $50.
Yeah, like here it's like fairly
You
expensive.
go out and it's like two people $50.
Yeah,
like at
so I was
least.
like, it's not terribly expensive out there, so I'm not really worried about it. And that's also where like the money part of me, where I'm like, I'm having money when I go. You will not catch me spending anything extra out of my retained budget, and I learned that from my cruise because we jacked up on that. But I'm like,
yeah.
Me working like my extra job, I'm like, I kind of like my job. It lets me do, and I put whatever money I get from that, I just throw it in my savings and throw it into an account. So I have that. And so I'm like, okay. But like, yeah, money, I need to get back on it. Need to get on it. Because it's not looking hot.
Yeah. It's more for me, like my thing with money is like, I don't make much. I'm not like struggling, but it's like.
You're not comfortable.
Yeah. No, I'm comfortable. Okay. I'd say I'm fine. I own my house. I own my car. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. But it's more just like for my business. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much more money I could invest in my business. And, like, especially because right now I'm doing Facebook advertising.
Oh.
And I've been doing that for a few years. But now I'm actually, like, good at it.
Yeah.
to the point where I could probably do it for other people and make money doing it for other people,
Mhm.
right? So it's like I'm getting good rates, like whatever. I don't want to get into the nerd shit because it's nerd shit, but it's like, I'm getting a good rate of people listening to my songs and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And so like, but it's like I drop like $10 a day on that, right? And I'm
Mhm.
getting good results, right? But
Uh-huh.
it's like, shit, what if that was 100 a day?
Yeah.
Like I could fucking 10x what I'm doing right now if I was just making way more money. And it's like in the long term that would get me to my goals, but like I don't need to do it, but it's like it would tremendously speed up my progress.
Yeah.
Like in terms of even an investment, right? Because the more money I put into it, the more money I can potentially get out of it later.
Mhm.
Because it's like, let's say I do ads or whatever, blah, 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 and then one of my songs like blows up, right?
Yeah.
It's like 10 million streams.
Mhm.
I just made all of my ad money back plus more.
Yeah.
So it's like off of just one shit, and then that doesn't even count all the new fans listening to my old stuff. Like that doesn't even count the residual like
Mhm.
effect of it. So it's like that's my process. Like right now, I'm like, do I get like a job that I'm probably not gonna like even close to as much as my current job, but like sacrifice, because like I work with Dave.
I love
You know what I'm
Dave.
saying? It's like that's like, oh man.
I will tell you, that's a very hard decision I had to make, because it came
Yeah.
down. Mine was for my health first, but also just because for my life, like Nick and I at the time were, I think at that time we were like, let's have a baby, let's switch schedules. It's not the process right now, but we're like,
Yeah.
at the time it made sense, and so I switched jobs, right?
Yeah.
To a job where I was like, where I can sit down and I can have, if I was to get pregnant, I can work until 9 months, right? I'm not worried
Yeah.
about, because I could work my EMS job no problem, but the likelihood, like, I think just Nick would stress, like, you hear a call, like I got a psych patient,
I would be upset at you if
right,
you were
I got an
pregnant and
aggressive
doing that
patient.
shit.
He's like, why are you at work? So especially doggy daycare, obviously would also make that a lot harder, because like
with the scratchies and
like what if Magic jumps, and Magic hits my stomach when he jumps, kind of thing. So
and the baby's gone
yep,
that quick.
starting over,
Thanks, Magic.
right? So did that, and then I realized, but it was also impulse, because my partner at the time had notified me that she was quitting.
Yeah.
Because she got a job somewhere else, and I was like, "Why would you?" She's like,
Why would you betray me?
She did that on impulse. She's like, "I didn't think I would get it. I didn't think they would respond so fast, and then it happened, and now I'm here." And I was like, "Why would you leave me? Why would you do that? We're like the power team." But again, it wasn't making enough money. So and the job that I have now, I had 2 interviews, and they both, like, the person who was supposed to do my interview never showed up, twice.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
So I ended up applying to where she applied, and I was like, and I told myself, whoever replies to me first and gives me the first job offer, it's the one I'm taking. And I'm not a person who, like, even if I was to get the second one, or I was to do the interview for the second one, I was like, I would never, like, I've already committed. I'm too much of a chicken to be like, nah, never mind. I'm like, I'm going to commit. And my job's not bad. The schedule's great. I can't complain. But it takes a lot to be like, I took a decent pay cut, like a couple hundred,
like a month
for my current job from where I was, because I was making a decent amount. Moreover, like, I was like, okay, and now I'm not making as much, and that was my big sacrifice. So it's hard to be like, do you sit at a place that you don't like because you make good money, or do you go back to a place, or do you work at somewhere that you don't make a lot but you kind of love where you are?
Yeah.
And that's a hard decision.
And it's like, also, like, I have part of my brain is like, you can enjoy anything. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, it's like part of my brain is like I'm pretty optimistic. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I try to be. I
Mhm.
used to not be, but I try to be now. So it's like, for me, it's like, I think I can enjoy any job. I'm pretty likable.
Mhm.
So like, not to not to flex, but I've been told that I'm likable and whatever. So it's like, I think I'd be fine at any job, but it's like, for me, it's also like, if I would give this job up, like, first of all, it would be very difficult, because it's the first job that I've actually been like, I could be here for a while.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know?
great job
But like,
until it starts
yeah.
becoming like not fun.
That's the thing. Is like even when it's not fun, it's not as bad as any of my other jobs.
That's true too. I've definitely been like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, like it's like yeah.
I feel like it's not that bad because you get that serotonin all the time because you're with animals. Like you
You're with
can't not
animals
like
and
your job when
I'm
you're with animals.
My husband Dave.
Yeah, like I'm over here like that would be me. Like if I could see magic every day, I'm like, bro, I wouldn't.
Oh yeah, I got Bernadette today, my sweet baby that I love.
Bernie!
I got Bernadette. I got. Do you know Ricky? Were you here for Ricky?
The little
Ricky,
scraggly
little
looking ugly
monkey?
one.
Don't call him ugly. He's so
He's
cute.
the Brenda looking one in the
Yeah,
small yard.
my little
Yeah.
monkey man. I love him so much.
No,
He's like a little baby Zeke, kind of. But I love him. So
Yes,
yeah.
Ricky.
And then I had him, and then I need to take a picture of this one. His
Okay.
name is Thunder, and he's a
Oh.
chocolate lab, and he's so fucking cute. He's probably my favorite lab puppy we've gotten.
Is it like like Waylon? Cute. You remember Waylon?
No,
Do you remember? Okay. Is it like?
he's skinny. He's like a skinny brown lab. He doesn't look like a lab.
Oh.
He's not chunky at all. He's very skinny.
Well, Waylon was skinny.
Waylon. It's I kind of remember the name. Okay. Well, whatever. This episode is already like 41 minutes. So
Well-
let's cuz you got to go. So
We
let's
moved.
do the F1 thing
Boop.
next and
That's
then
about to be the quickest one because I
yeah,
don't think I remember
you
much.
need to go home so you can sleep, please,
Well, I'll
for
sleep at
my
some
sake.
I'll but sleep at work.
Okay,
Well,
guys.
that's all we have to say, I guess.
Yeah.
Motivation sucks, so just find a nice little balance between your life, even
Yeah.
if it's unconventional for other people.
Yeah, don't wait for motivation. I think is the best thing.
Right,
Because
and-
if you're waiting to be motivated, it's not gonna happen.
Right. Also, don't force yourself to do things in a timeline and compare it to other people because that was a struggle for
True.
me.
Yes.
You know, what like
Don't
he
compare
said.
yourself.
Right. Like he said, the opportunity
Delete
will
social
come.
media.
Okay. Or
Well,
that.
I mean, it does help you stop comparing yourself to people, right?
it does.
So,
Well, I was gonna say your time will come and everything will fit in
true.
when it needs to
I
be.
do agree with that. But yeah. All right, guys.
Love
Thank you so
you.
much for watching.
See you on the next
We'll
one.
see you in the next one.